Hello again, many thanks for joining us. My name is Ernest Mino. Let's settle for the details now. First, we'll start from the Ashanti region because the Regional Health Directorate in the Ashanti region is briefing the press on COVID-19 infections in the region. Let's join in live.
High-risk groups, no. The mass screening among now for routine surveillance no yare no contacts no the sample no pen you bet me aye hu adwuma immediately enti sa na yaye say ye beye no na isolation centers no the regional minister boyen say ye wo 2 isolation centers akese na say national security for adom yen ne nat are working together adom isolation center kese eno say no say you betimi edi nipa na ko ne akofwe bi say beds ni betimi atremu kra ma ko do about 300 beds na ebeka TUC de no ho so a TUC 95 beds enti ube hu say ha no you betimi anya close to 400 beds you betimi ewo ya isolation centers no say e bakra say yare no me de no how bi wo ho a ye di nipa no beko de wo mu ni say as I say, or said a bayer, or be bahono. Obroni France said they will be very comfortable. Said a bayer, Omunko say, a prison and every be now, Omu Quabontia, Omufa, Uncle Bo Amaniaso, Oqua, Yentry 2 years, Tiapasi a betri 2 omo. Said a bayer, who say, a hoye, a fee, a momo. Said a bayer, a best now, say, be by nay, stress it will be qua. Now you do Maka to her. Treatment center, no so be yare and we are deno. You know, you say, Obako Confanochi, your Baku Kumasi South Hospital. Necessary, no, you know, Dr. Bakun, so I say, can hospital need now, or the Bemayan. Naka don't see the aye, alcohol. It is a no, Anaka Benya treatment centers, no me and San Ewo Kumase. Naki isolation centers, I can see and so, Minu Ewoha. It is a bar as sentimental muha, and can be a BIR one night, yeah. This is need to be one ka ye better transport arrangements na do mu ina aba ye isolation center ho na bibia aye simple ama ye enyina na the best pa say mo de betu dwama ne say isolation center no enye prison eye ba bia wo ba say de be ya ye be hwew ama wo ho aye den wo ho atɔ it is say yare ni bi yo bia na say ye kwose ye kwakofa no a o hawa ya na ekomu no dɔɔso ebi ho a omo threaten ye health workers no wo be kɔ no na ye ntɔkwa bebree enti bi ho a de say bia o security agencies no boa enso yes a na community no hu say e bia ye force nipa no na ye do makɔ na so enye sa ye de boa mo say de be ya ye nyina ye ho betɔ yen na de enti nipa no yes a no eye de obroni friend stigma any discrimination onipa no of isolation center no obakra obi ampese oton bibia ma no eti the best media no ade ba ko a best mu say munya mayen is to address the issue of stigma and then discrimination say muni bibia ya mo den na numu mu no mo me enka ho asem say de be ya onipa no be hu say bia owo yare no the hard dream true ni say e bia wanya ba bi cry isolation center enipa no tipo mo ni so there be ampre and no trust nipa nyanya nim de bebree e wo yare no ho e wo ye man yimu say yes a ebema ekono ayeden if you say nipa no nti ase a onhu the reason why a say ye isolate no and na ye isolate obi so no ba na say mo pam na fi community no mu a eno so emwa yen e wo ekono mu nti de ye bestre ye mpanimfo sebi anka ye ahemfo di kan na ka mpanimfo di kan a na ka omun ka bribi about the stigma and the discrimination na air cost war especially nipa na edo ma isolation center na ye yi o ma ba fie no said ye no on betra na adwuma no ayeden atimi akoso ho ene e pese mo nso mo beboa yen e wo sedumadi no ho ye nipa bebre bi sa me say ti yare da ben ene betwa na da bia masama me de ba mo say awrade nko ananim say no kwara wo mu ni say science enim bebre na so bebre so na science enim yare we yin aye covid-19 no e ba ye no say de ehu no kan ya ba ye no nye sa ene ehu no ene Ye in I ever wearing a face mask. I'm me cry, me try hammer. Ye no more face mask. Who has them? Am I a castle? Say, a who here say in I bedding. Ye be face mask. As soon as in I day, ye face mask. If you say, near my baby, Emre Kono, Emre na extra, ye nim dear ye benya. And that is exactly how the virus behavior is. So when you learn new things about the virus, and then you change your attitude towards the way you do things. Enti safe pepe na ye de be continue obi agran okatra say, and the virus no ye do say pick we otra e be do say ya. Na ya me say enukware bi mamu if you say makatra mu say ye nim bebre about the virus. And then niam bebre so ho a ye nim. Enti se obi same a de metimi akatra wa say the American say awrade ena eden onim. Na so de ye nim ni say ubetimi abo ho ban a wunya yare ni bi. Ye betimi abo ye ho ban a ye betimi atu yare na sekura wo ye man mu by adhering to what the protocols and then the guidelines. Though we don't know when the condition will end, but one thing we know is that we can make sure that we don't get infected. And the obianim eti protocols ne de yakani nyina no e me say eno na ubetimi de abo ho ban a wunya yare no obi be bisa me say na adro he fi say ya hu say nipa bebre so aba obi say wanya adro we de ya ne bisa ne say adro no say de ya hwehwe adro emu obroni fra no evidence based enya magic say wo call ya no anya adro. If say okra unhu yare ni bida ebe de na betumi aka say wo na dru unfa bi nka obi ada ebe de no hu say wo na dru de wo mu ni say ye hwehwemu etu be hu ne de adro bi ba your friend hydroxychloroquine erythromycin ne abubo din bebre na say obe say antiviral bi aba ni nyina obroni friend clinical trial a wo yahwe say ade no ebe yi a enti no say try new year, then we move to the next step, which we call peer review. Scientists who say a drawing a beboa. After peer review and its publication, no, before we can say it's evidence based. Say ubetimi used to say a drone. It is a multi the uncle for any yina men yawadrin say a draba into so konya really be cry a drobi or why a betimi ajo. The best friend is a my emphasis attitude. No, the right attitude now is to make sure that you are adhered by the protocols and the guidelines. Yeah, now can face mask who are same. Yeah, no compulsory. So we pay kwa. As we are doing, we should face mask. Ashanti region ha. Your minister can. Security agencies. Yeah, now yatiase. It is we pay. No, should face mask ni bia. Please, if we are now so you are for crowd or what, they can question you. And then whatsoever appropriate sanctions can be applied, because we've seen that it's very important. Social distancing, yehu say a issue. If it's still who say nipa bi ho am ya so den. The best try say ye nyina yen kan ho mom. Ye betimi akonyare no. Yare no enye nne say ochna. And obi betimi aka say yare no beko. Now, so ye na ye boy home modern a yare ni yenya bi infection rate no ebetimi akofom ye na ya ye yakoye nyuma so e da ma se radi nhra mu ina. Oh yes, we can, because so what we will need.
And so you had Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran, who is head of the Ashanti Region Health Directorate, addressing the press there on the case of COVID-19 so far. He says that they have 2 isolation centers, which have 300 beds altogether, and that is to make sure that they have enough space and to make it comfortable for the people who will be put on isolation. He also talked about the fact that they have 2 treatment centers for now. There's one that is yet to come on board, and that will make the treatment of COVID-19 cases in the region a lot more easier and better. He touched on the attitude of some of the persons on isolation and threats also that is being given to some of the health workers attending to these people on isolation. For him, this is attributable to stigma and also discrimination, for persons who seem to have the disease or exposed to the virus, and he's urging the media to help educate the public on that. And also on the issue of cure, he reiterated the point that there's so far no cure for COVID-19. All that is happening is trials so far, and really the trials are for vaccines, not necessarily for treatment of COVID-19. What he knows is that by observing the protocols, we may get out of this. He doesn't know when all of this will end, but the surest way out of this is by observing the protocols, social distancing, and also wearing the face masks, among others. We can now go back to the press conference and hear more from Dr. Tinkran, who is answering some questions there.
Of confirmed cases by the date of reporting. That's the day that we receive the reports from the laboratory. So as you can see, we started from 13th March with just a single case. And by the time we got to 12th April, we recorded as many as 14 cases on a single day. This period coincides with the lockdown period, as you all remember. And as you can see, just 2 days ago, when the samples came, when the results came, we had as many as 33 positive cases among them. This is another description or depiction of what we've just talked about. So it's the number of samples tested and then the confirmed cases in Ashanti region. The blue lines or the blue line represent the total number of samples, and the other is the number of confirmed cases. So as you can see, as we ramp up the testing, the number of positive cases also increased. And once again, this area corresponds to the lockdown period. This represents the cumulative number of cases. So day one, we have one, day two, if we have 2 cases, then it increased to 3. And as you can see, it has been rising over the period. And currently, we have 163 cases up there. So it has been increasing over a period. We can also represent it in another form, this time using the dates that the sample was taken. We are using this as a proxy because of the huge backlog of samples at KCCR, as the regional director said. And then the fact that we're doing mass testing. Most of the cases or most of the samples that we picked were from people who were asymptomatic, or they were not complaining of any symptoms at all, or any problem at all. So that's how come we are using this. This, within the Ashanti region, more males are getting the cases or the infection compared to females. 56% for males and 44% for females. And this can you go back, please? This is similar to the national picture, and indeed it's also similar to the global picture.
And so that's the situation as pertains to the Ashanti region on COVID-19. Now, data on Ghana's rate of COVID-19 infections show that the country's case count has peaked. A top official of the Ghana Health Service has revealed. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Ebenezer Bedu-Sarkodie, said Tuesday that the rate of infection is yet to decline, but this will only happen if the preventive protocol for the virus are adhered to. And we can hear from him now.
Those that were put on quarantine out of the 1,030, in a short time, we had 115 of them, those inquiring at Accra here and also in Tamale. So you realize that with a sharp rise, and now with the cases that we are testing, clearly we seem as a country to be on top of the peak, and we are at a stage to decline. That is the observation now.
Dr. Patrick Abuaje is Director General of the Ghana Health Service. He joins us on the phone. Doc, we just heard from your Director of Public Health, Dr. Bedu Sarkodie here, and he said yesterday that we are at the peak. And this was just yesterday at the briefing. Are we there, really?
Good morning. Thank you. Why? I don't believe him.
There are doubts raised by virologists and other scientists who say that looking at the data we have, that suggestion may not be accurate.
Okay. I mean, we are dealing with science. We have all kinds of opinions all the time. Scientists never seem to agree. Yes. Yes, we speak for all of us. And from the data, in simple terms, what we are looking for communicating to the public is the fact that the rate of increase has stabilized. The number of admissions, people who are going to hospital, has actually slowed down. It's stable and actually a bit on a downward trend in terms of the case of those who need to require admission. And then finally, if you look at the number of deaths, that has also remained quite stable and actually slow. So on the face of that, one can look at that. But in terms of, for example, whether we go up or continue to go down or stabilize, it depends on what we all do.
So are you saying that we are not there yet in terms of...
That's not what I said.
Okay.
I said we speak for all of us. And that is our position.
Okay.
Whether we continue to say go up or down depends on what we all do.
Very well.
We ramp up the public health protocols and measures. Compliance is important. And we continue our testing and tracing and isolation. Then we will still be able to look at that. That's why every country has that.
Doc, I want us to do this. Since we were told that some 15,000 deaths are expected and some 3 million infection rate, we're told that that is the WHO estimation or modeling. Have we been able to develop our own model based on the peculiar data that we have since that time?
I think there have been several models being done based on all kinds of assumptions, but that is to inform planning, among other things. And so there are some are extreme, some are low, and we continue to do one. We are working with the Ghana Academy of Arts and Science to generate additional models, and the other groups independent who are doing their models. But these are all for this. I'm sure if you go to the AFRO website or WHO website, all manner of scientist groups are running their own models. But it all depends on the kind of assumptions that are in.
So you have several models. The last one.
Anybody's model.
Very well. It's important that we develop our own model. So you're saying that we have several models based on the information that comes in. Per the last one that you looked at, what is our expectation in terms of the peak and the projected death toll as well as the recoveries?
Well, I said we are looking at all of them, and it's for us to inform our planning. And we look into we look at the assumptions that were made. So that's not something I'm ready to put out there. I'm sure others, if someone has done this model and wants to talk about it, we look at it. But for us, it's more for planning purposes and for our assessment.
Just before
what we are telling you, what our own outlook is, what we are telling you, I think that is something that I can speak to, but not a model someone has developed and made its own projection.
Dr. Abuaje, just before we look at education, the bit about the peak, what are the indicators? What informs that suggestion or that decision that we may be at the peak and we may soon be declining, or that we are declining?
Okay. Great. In simple terms, how many new cases are you getting? Is it increasing? Is it coming down? We don't see that way. How many people are falling sick and coming to admission? That has remained stable for the past and sometimes the rise is slight dip. Okay, there was a time we had almost 100 people at the Ghanaian. The last few weeks or so, we never had any more than 50, and then across the country. And some of them are just isolation centers. So,
Dr. Abuaje, if you could just position yourself, well, we seem to be losing you along the line.
I'm saying that, as I said earlier, you are looking at the new case. Is it going up? From where we sit, it's not. You can look at Ashanti region and the number of new cases that are coming up. That was an epicenter. And other things. We also have the number of people who are sick on admission. That is also, as we see, there is nobody on ventilator. As I yesterday, nobody was critically ill. The numbers who are stable, and I would say in a way decline, but it moves up and down. And then finally, we look at the number of deaths. So those are deaths in general, those are the things you look at. I mean, if you're talking about if we didn't do anything, where would we be? Where are we now, based on the things we are doing? So those are the things that we're looking at.
Yes, Dr. Abuaje, so just before you go, let's look at the education bit. Now we know that the use of face masks is mandatory. What more should we be doing?
Compliance. That's the most important, that we all wear masks. We continue to wash our hands. I think people are forgetting the hand washing. And we need to ensure that. And I also believe that, most importantly, I mean, apart from hand washing, hand washing etiquette, social distancing is extremely important. We need to start institutionalizing these measures into our building code and everything, and the way our workplaces are organized, among other things. When you go to a radio station, what is the system arrangement? With all this crowding in our offices, is that something we should continue? Because most of the new outbreaks of disease, the transmission is about the same things we are talking about, from Ebola to H1N1 and to this one. So these are things we have to start institutionalizing as part of our practice as a country, so that we are able to.
Dr. Abuaje, we are so much grateful for your time here on Newsdesk. Thank you for speaking to us. And that's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaje. But you heard there from Dr. Bedusa Akodie about the fact that we are getting to the peak. But some have doubt about this suggestion. One of such is pharmacist Kwame Sapon Esiedu. He spoke on the Super Morning Show a while ago.
Under those circumstances, you are nowhere near your peak, because you need to decrease the number of factors that are impacting on the spread. And how do you know that you are decreasing the number of factors? You know from the reproductive number, which the R number, which everyone talks about, which is the number of people that get infected if one person gets infected quickly. As of now, myself and other colleagues, our estimate of Ghana's R number is it's greater than 2.5.
So greater than the world average, or the world R naught?
No, the world R naught now is being quoted around 3. I mean, there are even some studies that are coming out which are quoting it around 3.4.
Right.
The problem with an R naught calculation is that it tends to change depending on the interventions you make. And that is why I started from talking about the factors that you can change the factors. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by you can change the factors. So if you look at a typical, a typical infection like COVID, you are looking at a number of things that can intervene. So there should be an availability of what we call a virulent pathogen, which is the virus. Then there should be an ability of human beings to interact. And that is why social distancing is key. You cannot change the fact that the virus is already in Ghana. That you cannot change. But you can impact on the social architecture where we tend to like to aggregate. You can do that. The other thing is, the final thing that is key is the size of the population available to be infected. Currently, we have about 2,719 infections in a population that is 30 million. There's a huge scope of people to get infected. Our R value is greater than 2.5. Our doubling time is less than a week. Under those circumstances, I mean, put it in context. Between the 1st and the 2nd of May, we added 550 new confirmed positive cases. It took us 33 days to go from our first 2 cases to 566. If it took you over just under 5 weeks to get 566 cases, and it takes you 24 hours, yes, some would argue that we are testing more. That can be true. But the reality of the matter is it's also true to say that you are getting more positive results because the disease is spreading. Because if the disease wasn't there, before it got into Ghana on 2nd March, even if you did 100,000 tests, you wouldn't get a single positive case.
Now, virologist Dr. Michael also joins us with his own perspective. Dr. Also, thank you for joining us. You had there the pharmacist. Earlier, we spoke to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service on this suggestion that we are at our peak. Where do you stand on this?
Yeah, very good morning to your listeners. So I think we have to be quite cautious about saying we have arrived at our peak. And a lot of variables will have to come into play before we can say that we are at our peak. And the peak that the curve varies even regionally. And I mean, Accra could be assuming a certain curve. Kumasi may not have. Central region may also start their own. So first of all, I mean, to put all the data together nationally, and then to say we have arrived is something that has to be done cautiously, which I feel that a lot has to do with this, and the evidence on the ground doesn't seem to maybe suggest to. The reason why I'm saying that is that before you can plot the epidemic curve, you need real-time data. This data talks about the incident cases per unit time. So every day, how many new cases you get. And ideally, you must have this on a good Excel sheet. That tells you that from the 12th of March to date, every day, how many cases you get. And the cases not based on cases that are reported by the lab, but cases based on the samples that are collected from the people in real time. So even if you have 500 cases coming out on the website, you will have to go back and then align this to the date on which the samples were. So first of all, give you a clean data of the number of new cases you have. And then based on that data, you can now plot your epidemic curve and then understand how you are going up. But even for that curve will tell you the observed curve, which is based on the real-time data. But you also need a model curve that will tell you that if you have an unmitigated approach, your curve is likely to assume that conical shape where you hit the peak and then descend. But then based on the interventions you are putting in place, based on the social distancing, based on wearing of masks, you have to get to a certain point where you feel your curve will flatten. And basically when the curve flattens, you want to say that the number of new cases that you get in each and every time is almost at a constant rate. In other words, the slope will be the same each and every day. So you don't have increasing numbers occurring, but then the curve, the new cases are occurring every day. The data we are seeing is cumulated data, and I'm not too sure whether we have aligned this to the date on which the samples were collected. Therefore, it will be very difficult to begin to make projections that we have flattened the curve. And I feel that we need to have good data, and we need to model the data to understand what the data is telling us before we can make this statement. So I want to differ a bit. I think that the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences are working behind the scenes to get a clean data, real-time data, matched to the date of sample collection. And when they have this data, they can come out with several models. You could have a growth curve model or a model. And each of these models will tell you where you are and where you are likely to be, and whether you are flattening the curve or you are now peaking. And this peaking must be based on an original approach. Accra will have its own curve, Kumasi will have its own curve, Central Region will have its own curve. And each of them will have to assume and confidently talk about having reached the peak or not reaching the peak. I think for now it's a bit too early for us to make conclusion that we have already flattened the curve and things are already stable. I think it's a bit too early. Although the hospital cases are few and the deaths are few. But the question I ask myself is, what is the reference point? from 12 of March, how many cases were we recording? And are the hospital cases increasing?
So, Dr. Usu, from what we are made to understand, if you look at the contact tracing, for instance, there's been an aggressive move to have a lot of people contacted and also tested. They have cleared much of the backlog, and the cases that are coming in are people who necessarily, we've moved from the imported cases. These are people who might have picked it up from the community level, and from what we are told, the numbers are not so significant as compared to the numbers that we got from contact tracing. And even that is going down. You look at the figure, and per the last check, we are at just a few figures shy from 3,000. Just this morning, at a briefing in the Ashanti region a while ago, we are told that some 33 more cases have been added. But the death rate is very slow, and the recoveries, I don't know what to make of it. You're looking at all of this and you're saying that we cannot make that conclusion that we are at our peak and we may be declining.
Yes, I think that it's too early to say that, and I will want to see a real-time Excel data showing the individual dates and the number of new cases broken down by the region to enable the modelers to be able to see the exact picture of what is going on. I think we are doing very well. With the contact tracing, we are slowing the spread of the disease. We are reducing the deaths. The death numbers are very good. It's quite good, in one of the best in Africa. But I think that the nature of the virus across the African continent seems to assume a certain curve, which for me, I still don't seem to understand how it's going, unless the modelers come out to tell us. So I want to wait for what the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences to come out with what they are doing. If they come out with their real-time data and can tell us about where we are based on the data, and could make this data as well public on the website for others to also model it and then see how it will behave on their how the picture will look like, then we can follow through. I'll be a bit cautious, and I'm being careful to say that we are already hitting the curve. If Ashanti region has 33 new cases, it means that the day before, how many new cases did they get? 3 days before, how many new cases were recorded? You have to model these together on a real-time basis, on each unit time. Then you can confidently talk about having reached the peak or maybe descending the peak. So yes, I think we are doing perfectly well. We are doing a lot of work, contact tracing, isolation. But I think that to determine whether you are at the peak or declining the peak, we need to work with real-time data, and we need to see evidence of this model and to be able to compare it on regional basis and to come out to say that indeed we are there or we are not there.
So what would you say, what in your view is the impact of such communication on the fight against this virus?
Well, as I said, from where I sit, I don't have access to a lot of information because I know a lot is being done behind the scenes. But I think that the information may have been communicated based on a certain assumption, which I'm not aware of these assumptions yet. But if it's based on an assumption, and the assumption fits within the communication, then that is fine. But from what I understand, I feel that if you say you have flattened the curve, the variables to consider and what to do, I think the work is being done and we are not yet there. So I would rather be cautious and be careful to already assume that we have hit the peak.
And I think that the fear really is that for such communication already, when the ban on movement, the restrictions were lifted, it appears people are living life as normal, and the health minister yesterday had cause to lament the lifestyle of people not adhering to the protocol. So adding this to it could make it more difficult to help fight it. But I want us to listen to this, and we'll be back to talk more about the situation.
The president, on several occasions he has spoken, continues to advise that if you don't have anything very, very critical seriously for you to do, please stay at home. Companies that are making huge monies have accepted that let some of our staff stay at home. What is the implication? It is reducing productivity. Their revenues are going down. But they have agreed to observe that. So those of us who come out just to a chat, to sit somewhere and do kokosa, why can't we stay at home?
So you see the anger and frustration of the minister on the attitude of people towards the virus. Doc, And I want to ask again, if we are communicating this, how should we go about it?
Well, I personally, I feel that the minister was being real and he was serious about this. And I feel his communication would drive through the hearts of many Ghanaians to take these precaution measures more serious. And we have to hold on to it. I want to say that, well, I don't want to believe the statement about hitting the peak should make people relax and to say that everything is over. I'm not sure that is what is being communicated. I think that this statement was made based on some observed values, which I will want to differ from that. But I think that the statement about precautionary measures is what the minister was emphasizing on. And I think this is the message that we all have to take. And this is what has been communicated by all, including the Director General, the ministers, and all the public health officials, that we should not relax our measures. Whether we have models in place or we don't have models in place, the measures will have to become parcel of us as a community. And we need to do this more seriously, take it more serious, and ensure that we enforce it. And I think this is the message that the public will have to hold on to and adhere to. First, we do a lot of work whilst we encourage the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences to come up with more realistic models and to be able to inform us as to the science behind epidemic curve leveling and epidemic curve flattening and reducing the peak and going up. I want to leave that for the modelers to inform us more about it. Then we can be able to add this to what we are learning and then begin to be able to do. So I think that the government we should adhere to this and we should not relax it based on the statement that has been made.
Dr. Michael Owusu, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsdesk. And that's a virologist with the KCCR, that's in Kumasi.
Republic Bank has made a donation of 200,000 cedis to the treatment center of the Ga East Hospital. The donation forms part of its support towards the fight against COVID-19. Here's Managing Director Farid Anta speaking about the donation and how his bank has had to adjust to the pandemic.
Well, it was very simple for us. We like to ensure that, as far as possible, whatever contributions we make under our Power to Make a Difference social responsibility program, that it goes to the root. It is utilized as far as possible that the end user gets the benefit. So we try to look for funds or entities that we are confident will utilize the money directly for the needs. And when we looked around, and as far as the speed, from what we understand of the private sector fund, and the project is already initiated, it's a needed project and something that will have a long-lasting value, very accountable and transparent. It is a very attractive opportunity for us to see our funds utilized quickly for the benefit of the people of Ghana in a long-term manner that is transparent. As I indicated, initially, for the bank's operations itself, the internal operations, we are doing work from home where we can, so people are logging in. We have provided additional laptops and data packages so people can be effective from home. We come into office on a rotation basis. We have two different streams, 1 week on, 1 week off. Not that if you're off, you're not working, but you work from home. So we limit the number of people in any environment. It happens at the branches, back offices more so, we are able to work more from home. For the front office in the branches, you do have to have people to interact with the customers. So we have had to curtail a number of services in the branches because we have less people. And we also manage, most of our branches are fairly small.
And that's it for business. Sports is up next.
And the English farmer is here with the latest in sports. Hello, George. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ernest.
Yeah. What's the update?
Yeah, let's get to it. I think we're getting close now to seeing some football happening. Of course, we needed a bit of green light from Germany, the Bundesliga, whether it's going to start or not. They're yet to clarify a few things because they wanted to hear from governments, and Merkel was going to be speaking shortly about whether they will give them the opportunity to start the Bundesliga when they want to start. The indications of that, though, is likely that they can start.
Yeah, because I think it's okay to start the Bundesliga.
They are saying, but I'm sure the government will be looking at it and trying to make sure everything is just fine before they do so, and there are no major risk factors when they start to play football. But at the moment, it looks like if there's any kind of football to look forward to, it's supposed to be the Bundesliga. And I'm sure the football fans just can't wait, because if everything goes well, then it means next weekend, we will see some games in the Bundesliga. That'll be very good.
Some good news.
5 minutes ago inside.
But what's the case what was the situation in that case? Is the GFA certain?
For Ghana, the Ghana Football Association is not certain. They had a deadline, but we're told that it wasn't very, very instructive. It was just guys try and decide by the 5th of May. So you realize that most federations decided to write back to CAF and say, we needed 2 weeks to decide. The Ghana situation is such that we do not have a consensus amongst the clubs. Some of the clubs feel that we should continue the league. Others feel like we should cancel the league. And the Ghana Football Association, I'm sure, also looking at the lines, how much money is going to come in if we play the rest of the league. Start times will definitely be looking over their shoulders at this one. If we play the league, though, they have to bring some money. If we don't play, then they are not going to pay. So once the clubs sit down and decide what to do, we'll have another idea on that. But for the Premier League, which is also huge because of a number of Liverpool fans who are hoping.
What are people making of the idea of government supporting football in this time? The appropriateness of it, the propriety of it.
But they have issues. There are issues, because I think at the moment the Ghana Football Association is trying to justify a few debts and see where that money is going to. Yes, FIFA gave them a grant of $500,000, which in actual fact is not enough for anything they're going to do. If you like, do the analysis, do the addition and subtraction. But they say they are entitled to get some money from the government stimulus package. The government will have to decide whether they get that money or they have to fight hard for the money. In any case, they'll feel like they have to try and find a way to sort themselves out, because we've seen other federations give to their associations, give to their members to make them comfortable. It will not be out of place for the Ghana Football Association to say, okay, we've got some money here, clubs, come for this, and
let's see how it turns out
as we go in there.
But we wish them the best.
Yeah. And you know, the third angle is that the players are not that comfortable. Not all the players are comfortable wanting to play again.
It's a difficult time.
Even though they want the money, you also want to be very careful about your health. And all the medical experts have indicated that it's better to wait for everything to be over than to
Absolutely, that would be ideal. But just a quick one, what's happening in Korea?
Yeah, Korea as well, they're getting close to starting their leagues, and we're going to see football there as well. They are really pushing it hard. You know, the Chinese wanted to push this so hard, and they had to look at it when they had a lot of reinfections and stuff, but the South Koreans are looking like they want to start playing their football as well. So at least there'll be something away from
There'll be some football, and that's good news for all of you who love football. But George, thank you for sports.
Always
that's it for News Desk. Many thanks for your company. More news on myjoyonline.com. Stay with us.